Hey everybody, it's Michael from Aurora Knife and Tool. I'm going to be doing a Truffles disassembling and going to reassemble it with some stonewashed rust hardware. So if you're wanting to take your first gen Truffles apart for maintenance, or if you're wanting to swap out some parts, this will kind of show you how to do that. You will need a T8 bit and a T6 bit, and your hardware bits as well if you're going to swap those out. So this is Gen 1 going out to our very first Kickstarter group. The major difference that you're going to see between this one and the one that was essentially the prototype for the Kickstarter is the spring on the inside of the button is a circular spring instead of a square spring. So I think folks are going to like that a lot more. So we're going to go ahead and take everything apart here. So this is the T8. All these screws here are T8. So get these guys out. And I'm going to hang on to that one for a second just so I can show you a little feature we added as well to from the prototype to the one that we're actually delivering to everyone. So that's got everything out except the clip filler. So we'll take this apart here and set our first scale down. Now we've been doing this thing where we've been calling the scales port and starboard, using some nautical terms there because it's so confusing to say clip side or show side if you're left-handed, and we've made Truffles ambidextrous. So port side is if the blade is facing this way, like the front of a ship. This is port and this is starboard. So you'll see that on some of the paperwork that we've got for like the warranty and for the disassembly. But yeah, so this is our primary bits here. You do have to take this piece out as well, though, to get to that pivot collar. And I wanted to show you. So there's a little hole on the opposite side here, and wiggle this guy out. There's a little hole here. So if once you've taken this screw out, if the clip filler doesn't just fall right out, you can see it's going to be loose. That's good. But you could poke something through there to get the clip filler out if it gets stuck. All right, and so you're going to need your T6 to take out this little set screw right here. What that does is it keeps this pivot collar from rotating. If that screw does get loose, this pivot collar will rotate, and if you rotate it, it'll come out. That's only happened to me on a few. If you get it in here tight, it shouldn't be a problem. But as you're playing with it, it might eventually happen. So that's this little bitty screw here. And so now you can see in here, I'm going to rotate this collar, this little lip here, right there is what we're trying to rotate to this area so that it'll come out. All right, and then that comes out. And you'll notice this is the circular spring and much more robust than the one that was on the prototype. So I think you're going to really like that. It is the smallest side of the spring to the largest, fits inside pivot collar like that. All right. And we'll get this guy out here. I find that it's a little bit easier to press down on the liner leaf. And then if you have something flat to try to pry it out, then that will usually, I kind of just prying here. Just wiggle that out. So it's kind of rests on these studs right here. All right. And then whenever you do put that back in, you're going to run this way. And you can technically take this this piece out here as well, the actual pivot. It's really pressure fit kind of in there, pretty snug, but it can come out if for some reason you need to take that out. So, okay, so we're going to swap these pieces out. So instead of this guy, we're going to put this pivot collar on. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this on the button. So make sure that the spring is not sticking out past the button. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the leaf spring roundhouse lock back in place here. Kind of slide that guy into there and snap these back over here. Yep, just like that. And then I've got to get this little ridge right here straight up and down because it's going to go through. You can see on this side there's a little lip right there. See that little lip that I'm right above my finger. So that's what I'm going to try to socket it in there. And then of course this goes inside the pivot as well. And kind of rotate that to where it seats. All right, it's in there. Flip it over. And then I want to rotate this piece back to that position, and then the set screw is going to hold it in place. And we did give you a handful of the smaller pieces we included in the kit, not because we expect them to fail, but if you disassemble them, it's easy to lose these little pieces. And so just kind of as a backup, wanted y'all to have some of those. All right, so the set screw is going in. Gonna get that snug. And just make sure that the pivot, yep, that's nice and snug. It's not moving at all. So I'm gonna take the back spacer, swap it out. Run that through there, and then we've got these barrel spacers here. All right, and let's see here, we've got these in place, and I'll go ahead and put the blade back in. And I'll throw the bearing on top of there. The washer is still in place. So we'll sandwich those things together. All right, there we are. And I'm going to go ahead and throw these screws back in. I'm done with my T6, so I'll get it out of my way. Oh, turning it, but I've got to get the other one in there as well. Oh, one thing that you do need to note is that the screws there are 3 different lengths of screws, and they're very small difference between them. And so I should have set aside the clip screw. I believe that's going to be the clip screw here. But I kind of just put them on top of each other and see if one's longer than the other. So they're not touching, so that looks to me like that is the clip screw. Yep, and these are the body screws. So put the clip screw over here. And then you've got the clip filler screw as well. That's much smaller. Alrighty, and then our pivot screw. Put that guy in there. Right. And drop. Here we go. And 2 more. And on the clip filler, I think probably most people are going to want to keep the gray clip filler because, you know, the point of it being gray is to sort of hide it. But to me, it's like, well, you know, it's there. Why not give the option to draw attention to it instead of trying to make it hide? So it's a feature, not a bug at that point, you know? So I want to put this guy on there. So there's a little pop of color, and it's got that nice shape that kind of echoes the hole in the blade. So we've got some parallel lines there. And we'll put our clip back in. Our slightly longer screw. So, nothing to it. All right, centering is still good. And action feels nice. So, yeah, there we have it. So, we've got the rust stonewash accents on. Super nice. And if you run into any issues, if you lose any parts, you know, feel free to reach out to us. But we think you guys are going to be really excited about Truffles. Thanks so much. Appreciate you guys.